Hello everybody, welcome to the web page example section. In this video, I'm going to set up a simple landing page for you. So the landing page is like this. I have some headings with some paragraphs, and I have a button. When I press the button, I'm able to just jump to another section of the web page. And for this web page, I also have some other portions shown below. And the interesting thing is that for this web page, I'm able to do the responsive design. So when I enlarge the window, you can see that initially many elements were in the same column, but when I enlarge the window, I'm able to put different portions in one row. So it is a bit easier to utilize the entire width of your viewport. Now, let us see the implementation of the web page. So at the beginning, I would simply have an HTML file as follows. So for this HTML file, I just list out the items to be put, and I'm going to use CSS to do the styling in order to produce the web page style that you saw at the beginning of the video. So the HTML file is like this. I have some head content, which tells the character set, the viewport, and the style sheet information. And inside the body, I have a header, which is simply referring to the part shown here, okay, including the button, okay. So I have some class name for this particular division, and this one is not needed, so I can simply delete it. And after the header, I am going to have the main section. So the main section is simply this portion coming from the part here to the end. Okay, so you can see that I have section called the first section, and I'm going to do the responsive design by using the grid properties. So I also give this section a class name called sGrid, and for this section I have a heading and a paragraph, and I'm going to do the second section shown here, which is simply the subsections 1 to 4 on the web page. So in order to set up the subsections, I used the unordered lists, okay. And inside the unordered lists, I just have a heading and one paragraph shown here. And of course, I can give the section a class name, okay. So for all the 4 subsections, the format is the same, okay. And for the first section, which is this part, you can see that I have another class name called section box for each of the subsections 3.1 and 3.2. And of course, I want to do the grid setup for the responsive design, so I also give the class name as grid. And at the end, I have a footer, which is simply the very last line on the web page, which is this one, okay. So I have a footer, and this footer has one paragraph inside. So this is the major idea of the HTML file. So let me show you how to implement the CSS styles to help me generate the landing page that you can see at the beginning of the video. So I set up the body first. No margin. I change the color of the background first. I change the words in blue. And then I do the text alignment to be centered. So you see every single paragraph is centered. Then I do the heading styles. No margins for the headings, and the padding style is 1em and 0. Okay, so 1em refers to the horizontal padding and 0 refers to the vertical padding. I also want to do the paragraph styles. So the paragraphs can have pretty much the same styles as the headings. Okay. Then I'm going to style the button, which is this one. The button refers to the part shown here. Okay. So when I just click on this button, I'm going to go to the second section. So the hyperlink here simply refers to another ID shown here. Okay. When I just add a hash sign before the class name, I'm going to do the button to go to the corresponding class name section on the web page. Okay, which is just this one. Okay. And when I go back to the HTML file, you can see that the class for this button is called a -button. I turn the display style to inline block. I turn the button to gray color, so you see the background color has changed. And the padding is 1em for horizontal padding and 2em for vertical padding. I also set up the border style for the button. I also set up the margin for the button. Okay. Then I'm going to do the hovering of the button. So when I do the hovering, what will happen? I'm going to change some appearance of the button. So let me try to do the hovering. You see the color has changed to yellow and the word has changed to blue when I do the hovering. Okay, I'm going to set up the header style, which is this part. The header style refers to this ID, which is the header ID. Okay, so I'm going to process this part of the web page. So now I'm going to set up the heading inside the header. Now you'll see the padding is increased at the top, but the padding at the bottom is removed. Now I'm going to handle the content wrap, which is this division and the division inside the first section. So I'm going to handle this part and this part. So how can I do the style? I just add some padding to the corresponding classes. Then I'm going to do the first section, which is this one. So how can I style it? I can have some idea as follows. Now you can see that the background color has turned to light gray, so it is a bit different from the other parts of the web page. Okay, the color of the word has changed. I also add some padding at the bottom of the section, so that you can see some separation between the words in different parts of the web page. Then I'm going to style the second section, which is this part. Okay, So I'm going to handle the subsections. Now I'll add some paddings around the subsections. I want to do the styles for the unordered lists inside the second section, so I'm going to handle all these pointers. Okay, I just removed the bullet points before each of the subsections. I removed the margin. I also removed the padding. And how about styling the list elements inside the unordered list? I have some idea as follows. I add some margin. I also add some color of the background, so you see the color is a bit different already. Okay, the color of the word has turned to dark red. Then I'm going to set up the division, which is this one. So I'm going to set up the style of each of the subsections content. So I just add some paddings inside each of the subsections to make the boxes a bit larger. Then I'm going to style the third section, which is simply this part of the web page. Okay, so I'm going to handle section 3.1 and section 3.2. So I'm going to handle the section box class shown here and here. So that means I'm going to do some styling of the content inside the box. Now you see that the padding is increased a little bit and the color of the words have changed to khaki. At this moment, it is not that easy to see the words, but I'm going to set up some background color of the sections so that the word color is a bit more apparent. I have two section boxes, so I have the same name for each of the boxes, and I want to just find out the first child, which is simply the box corresponding to section 3.1. Okay, when I just set up the style for the first child, you can see that the background color has changed. I can do similar things for the second box. Now I want to select the second child, which is simply the box corresponding to section 3.2. Okay, now the background color is a bit different already. It is olive now, so you can see the words in khaki more clearly. And now I'm going to set up the footer, which is this part, or which is simply this part on the HTML file. I set the background color and the padding. And the word is also in black. So I can do something like this. You see, the footer is a bit simple according to my style design. And I'm going to set up the responsive design for the web page. How can I do that? I can have some simple idea as follows. So I have to set up the minimum width to be 800 pixels. So when the width has become such a pixel value, or even larger than that pixel value, I'm going to change the appearance. Okay, I just want to set up the grid styles for many of the parts with the class name called as grid. Here, I mean the header, the first section, and the second section, as well as the third section. So these sections will be treated as grid when the width is at least 800 pixels, I mean for the viewport size. And the grid template columns has 6 columns, okay. So let me see if I'm able to see the effect now. Yes, we can see the effect a little bit. Now you can see that sections 3.1 and section 3.2 are joined together, so they are just treated as grids. And for the subsections, I haven't set any of other properties yet, so you can see that they are simply separate grids on different rows, okay. And now we can suppose that all the contents are just put on the first column out of the 6 columns, okay. And for the section 3.2 part here, it is simply occupying the second column out of the 6 columns. Why 6? Because I set up 6 columns here. And then I'm going to handle the first section, which is this one. Okay. And the content text is simply the division shown here. It involves a paragraph. So that means I'm going to handle the paragraph shown here. Okay, I set up 2 columns for this paragraph when the width is sufficiently wide. So you see, I have 2 columns already when the width is sufficiently wide. And I have some separation between the 2 columns, indicated by the column gap attribute. Okay. And for the paragraph, I have other styles to do. I just don't do the padding when I want to have a wider viewport size. Okay. Then I want to do some styles for the subsections, which refers to the content wrap shown here, as well as the section content shown inside each of the subsections 1 to 4, okay? So I want to handle the unordered list inside the second section, and I'm also going to handle the content wrap class. Okay, I have to set up some grid columns, and I will start with the second vertical grid line, and I will end before the 6th vertical grid line, so I can see the effect. So this is grid line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it starts before the second vertical grid line and it ends before the 6th vertical grid line. Okay, then I'm going to set up the style for the unordered list inside the second section. So what does it mean by that? I'm going to handle the unordered list content. So I turn the display mode to flex for the subsections. Okay, I want to set up the content to be justified using the space around value. So let me try to enlarge the viewport first. Now you'll see that now the unordered list elements are in the form of the flexbox display mode. So you see they are joined together along the same row. So when I simply go to the original size, you can see that the flexbox condition fails. And when I try to enlarge the window a bit, yes, you can see that now the flexbox mode will occur when the width of the window is larger than or equal to the 800 pixels. Okay. What does it mean by this one? I just want to ensure that the list elements would be a bit separated. So you see we have some separations between each of the subsections. So you can see that some space is allowed when I set up the width to be some value smaller than the average width of each of the subsections. So originally for 100% to be divided by 4, the width of each subsection can be only 25%, but when I set the width to be 23%, you can expect that there are some spaces between each of the subsections. That means I don't utilize the entire width for my subsections. I just want to leave some empty space between the columns. And what to do next? I'm going to do the section box class, which is this one. Yes, this part, about the fifth section. Okay, what does it mean by this one? I want the section box to span 3 columns from the first column. So what does it mean by that? Initially, I have 6 fractions shown here. 6 fractions for the grid template columns, which is this one. Okay. So when I do so, I just want to occupy the first 3 columns for the first box, which is section 3.1. And for the remaining portion, it is simply occupied by section 3.2. We can go back to the CSS file. We had 6 columns, and the section box spans 3 columns. So the idea is like this. We have 2 section boxes. Okay, so the first section box occupies the first 3 columns, and the remaining section box class content is simply occupying the remaining 3 fractions of the grid template. Okay, so you can see when I enlarge the window, you can see that section 3.1 occupies the first 3 grid template columns, and the second portion goes to section 3.2. Okay. So that's the major idea of the responsive design of the landing page. Okay, so you can see that the idea of the styling is not that difficult. Initially, I can simply style all the other parts, and finally, after setting up the corresponding parts, I simply add the responsive design at the end of the CSS file, so that you can have some grids or some flexboxes to do the alignment or placement of your items according to the viewport size, which is shown at the very beginning of the media rule here, okay? This is the end of the video. If you have any questions about my video, please leave your questions on the comment section below the video. If you like this video, please give me a like and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.